Hello, hello, welcome. Thank you for that introduction. I sure appreciate it. We have nothing but the best of the best with you on this Monday evening. I have the privilege and honor to bring up somebody that's really important to all of us, especially myself. He's helped mold and change my life when I met him 19 years ago. How time flies. He has trained hundreds of thousands of people on 6 continents. We hope to bring that seventh continent where he can train in the near future with Bellator. He's helped thousands of people reach a six-figure income. He's helped hundreds of people reach a seven-figure income. He's made tens of millions of dollars in this industry. He knows this industry in and out. And what I love about him is his passion is to teach people. His passion is to teach somebody to go from one level of their life to a second level, not just financially, but in all aspects of their life. So please welcome your trainer for the evening, Mr. Marc.
Well, it's very, very exciting to be with you. And I'm most excited because as I'm doing this, you can see I'm in a hotel room again, but this time in a hotel room in North Cyprus. And I'm going to be spending tomorrow with Hakan and Micah and Ray and Jurgen and the whole team, the actually next couple of days. So I am super excited about what's going on. We're planning a lot of events, a lot of training, a lot of strategy about everything that's going on in general. And again, I hope you're half as excited about what the future is for this company as I am. So I want to dive in because, again, that's what I'm here to do, to dive in. I have better lighting this week. If you hear last week, it wasn't bad, but you couldn't really see me very well. And not that seeing me is that big of a deal, but anyway, I think I found better lighting in this hotel room. So anyway, we're going to move forward. And I talked a little bit last week about the 4 phases of our business. So I really want to talk about that in great detail today, and that will lead us down a couple of other paths as well. So, assuming you weren't here last week or refresh your memory, phase one of our business is where you personally sell and recruit all day long. Now, I always make sure to say you sell and recruit all day long instead of you recruit and sell all day long, because a lot of network marketers, I think, have their priorities very backwards, where they're trying to recruit before they're trying to sell. And, that's just not the way it's going to get done. If you're relatively new to the industry, obviously there's a lot of appeal to recruiting people and leveraging your time and getting paid off the efforts of other people. Without any shadow of a doubt, that is the main thing that caught my attention 37 years ago when I very, very first looked at the industry. No doubt about it, that was the deal. However, once you start to understand what's going on, we get paid nothing for recruiting. We get paid for selling. You know what I mean? So if a sale is made, we get paid. If you recruit 29,000 people and no one sells anything, you get paid no money. So recruiting, although it's good, always is secondary to selling. So we sell and recruit all day long. And remember, whatever we do in our business has a tendency to duplicate. Talked a little bit about this last week. This is not a do as I say, not as I do kind of business. That's what most people try to do. They do one thing and try to get people that are underneath them to do another thing, meaning they don't walk their talk. So here, walk your talk, sell and recruit all day long. So again, I don't want to belabor that point because we're really talking about the 4 phases today. So phase one is you sell and recruit all day long. Now, in the beginning, the good news about the beginning is that's all you're capable of doing. What else could you do? Because you have no team, there's no one to manage. So all you can do is sell and recruit all day long. Now, phase two is where you manage your people who are selling and recruiting all day long. Okay. Phase three, if you're taking notes, I'll slow down. So phase one is you sell and recruit all day long. Phase two is you manage your team as they sell and recruit all day long. Obviously, that's a promotion, needless to say. Phase three, you supervise your managers who are managing the people who are selling and recruiting all day long. Now we've moved up the ladder even further. And then, of course, phase four, the final phase is where you oversee your supervisors who are supervising your managers who are managing the people who are selling and recruiting all day long. So, needless to say, for most people, the goal is to get through those four phases as fast as they humanly possibly can because they want to get into management mode. They want to be a manager. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to sell and recruit all day long. They want to manage those people or supervise the ones who are managing or oversee the ones who are supervising the ones who are managing the ones who are actually doing the work. Now, whenever I teach this, I have to reference how human beings are creatures of habit. And we become, on a deeper level, we become very programmed. Okay. We get into routines, we get into ruts. We're very influenced by what's around us. So, and again, great way of thinking about being programmed is obviously Pavlov and his dogs. I'm sure if you don't remember exactly what's up with Pavlov, you remember the name. Most every kid in the world globally learned about Pavlov and his dogs. It's actually called classical conditioning. Pavlov would ring a bell when he put the meat out to feed the dogs instead of just putting the meat. For years, he just put the meat. Then he rang the bell when he put the meat. And he put the meat again. He rang the bell when he put the meat. He put the meat, he rang the bell. So, of course, dogs became programmed that when the guy rings the bell, the meat is going to be there. And it didn't take very long. It took less than a week. Then, of course, just to prove the point, he would ring the bell without putting the meat out, but the dog still salivated as if the meat was actually physically there. So they became programmed, they became conditioned that the bell meant food. Okay, so very, very similarly, we have been programmed for all sorts of things. Okay, but it took Pavlov less than a week. Think about how long you've been in school, for example. Most of us globally, the average is by the time you graduate school or you get done with your quote unquote formal mandatory schooling at about 18 years old, most people have spent 14,000 hours in a classroom learning. Now, let me tell you, if Pavlov programmed his dogs in 1 week, imagine what all those years of programming do to you. And I know you're like, well, I don't believe that. Well, in one of our earlier courses I taught here, when we were talking about inviting a prospect to a presentation, I've already covered this. You might recall this, where I said, look, you're saying, hey, I have something really exciting I want to talk to you about. And they go, okay, cool. What is it? And they ask you a question. Now, because of programming, no other reason, because of programming, you start answering the question. When you answer that question, when you're inviting someone to a presentation, you're no longer inviting, you're now presenting. There's no way not to slip into presentation mode when you're answering that question. So, what we need to learn how to do is not answer the question. We say a bunch of different things, and I'm not going to go back to that class. You know what I mean? Many of you were on that one. But I'm just sharing with you that it's the way it is. An authority figure asks us a question and we give a response. It happened over and over and over again during our childhood. So it's just an unconditional, it happens from your unconscious mind. It's not a conscious thought. And that's the problem with it. And that's what 99% of everything that you and I do every single day are things that come from our unconscious mind. So we're in that situation. So let me go back down the four phases. So forget school. You're now in a workplace. You're in a workplace. You have a crappy job. Isn't your goal to stop doing the crappy job as soon as you can? And like, let's just say you're working in a restaurant. Let's say you start off and you're either a busboy or a server, and you're doing the work and you're working your butt off, but then you get promoted to manager. Now, as a manager, you're managing the people who are bussing the tables or waiting the tables. So that's clearly a promotion. You're no longer doing the really, really hard work. You're managing the people that are doing the hard work. That is standard. That is true of not just restaurants, of virtually any job. First, you do the work at the entry level, and then you get promoted to manager, usually assistant manager, some kind of manager, and you're managing people that are doing the work that you used to do. And then again, the next time you get promoted up, more of a supervisory role where you're supervising the managers and they're managing the people. And then if you're fortunate enough, a lot of people, of course, never get to this level, but if you get to that next rung of management, so to speak, then you're overseeing supervisors who are supervising managers. So we want to become a phase 4 person. We want to get there. And obviously, a lot of us are in a big hurry. That's the number one question people have for me. How do I become successful quickly? How do I make $1 million quickly? Everyone wants to go fast, fast, fast. So obviously, we want to go from phase 1 to phase 4 as quickly as you possibly can. Now, again, go back to a job. Let's talk about programming here. So on a typical job, virtually any kind of a corporate job, when you get a promotion, here's what happens. You get a new title, you get more money, and you get a new job description. So, new title, more money, new job description. When you get promoted, you're doing something different. Again, the example, I'm no longer waiting tables. Now I'm managing people who are waiting tables. So I'm making the schedule, I'm doing this. I'm just doing something different. I have a different job description. And again, if I got promoted again, now I'm no longer doing the day-to-day management chores. Now I'm managing, or I'm sorry, supervising numerous managers. You know what I mean? So again, it's a new title, it's more money, and I have a different job description. Now, in network marketing, this is very, very, very important you grasp what I'm about to share with you right now. So when you get promoted, you get a new title, you make more money, but you keep the exact same job description. So that freaks people out. You get the title, you get more money, you don't stop doing what you're doing. So we all start in phase 1. We sell and recruit all day long. We personally, I'm inviting people, I'm doing presentations, I'm getting new people started, and on and on and on. Then what we want to do unconsciously, naturally, is go to phase 2, where now I'm no longer doing that, but I'm managing those people. That's what we want to do, but that's not what you should do at all. Because listen, go back to what I already shared with you. Whatever you do is going to duplicate on your team. So if you go out, just think about this. It's very simple logic. Okay. You go out and you recruit 10 people. Okay. Soon as you get your 10 people, you're like, well, now I'll manage my 10 people. Okay, well, you do realize half of those people are going to do probably nothing at all. The other half are going to do a little something, but let's just say for extreme optimism that those 5 people go out and get 10 people each. Okay, great. As soon as they get 10 people, what are they going to do? They're going to go into phase 2 like you did, and they're going to manage their people. Now, when they go into phase 2 without even it just naturally pushes you into phase 3. Okay. So then as soon as, let's just assume things keep duplicating. So your first level people each got their 10 people, then they went into phase 2. Well, when it goes down one chapter deeper and they each have 10 people, half do nothing, 5 actually do something, and they, again, this is a pretty extreme example. They get 10 people and then again, they stop. Well, you follow them. You're so limiting your growth. Now let's play it out the other way. You're in phase 1, you get 10 people, you keep doing phase 1. Well, of the 5 people that you got from your initial 10 that are actually going to engage and do something, they see that what do? You sell and recruit all day long. So what do? They sell and recruit all day long. Now, once you've had some success, once you have a team, once you're making some money, let's say you're making more money in a month than you used to make ever in your life. What are you doing? You're still selling and recruiting all day long and selling and recruiting all day long. Let's say you get another promotion. Now you're a hot shot. Now you get to be a speaker. What are you doing now? You're selling and recruiting all day long, selling and recruiting all day long. So what do they keep? You follow what I'm saying? So if each one of them personally, gets 100 customers and sponsors 100 people, instead of sponsoring 10 people and stopping? Do you see a difference there? I mean, please tell me you see a difference there. Now, what I'm sharing with you right now is basic and simple and fundamental as it is. To me, is the number one of the main reasons why people fail in our business. They get people in and then they don't want to do the work anymore. That's the main part of it. Let's be real about it. Part of it is I need to manage my team, but the real part of it is I don't want to do that anymore. So the Stephen Jobs said the only way to do great work is you have to love what you do. So imagine you're a programmer and you program a couple of things and then you go, okay, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to manage other people who are doing the same thing. Or imagine you're a great basketball player or a great tennis player and you win a couple matches and you go, okay, that's cool, but I don't want to do this anymore. I want to manage other players that are doing it. Like, professional sports is very stressful. Professional sports, you have to be a disciplined eater, you have to work out. You're not, you're probably not partying and going out. I mean, if you're really focused on your career and taking care of your body and doing the right things, if you're looking for the glass being half empty or half full, let's say there's a glass. We always use that expression, but let's really think about it. There's a glass and it's half full and it's half empty. Well, how are you looking at it? Because if I'm a professional athlete and I'm like going, oh my gosh, there's so many people in the crowds, the media writes mean things about me when I don't play well. Oh my gosh, I have to go to practice every day. I can't eat whatever I want to. If I'm looking at the glass as half empty, I'm not going to have a very long career. If I'm going, man, I love playing a game, I'll do whatever it takes. I love being with my teammates. I can't believe I get to travel all over. I can't believe I stay in first class hotels. Yeah, I mean, it's hard work, but it's worth it. If I'm looking at the glass as half full, I'm going to keep going and keep going and keep going. And I'm using sports as an example. I could use any career as an example. You know what I mean? If you love what you're doing, then you're going to have a passion for it and you're going to keep doing it. If you look at it with disdain as if it's beneath you and you can't wait to stop doing it, now here's the problem. Number one problem with it. I pick up the phone, like, okay, let's just say for sure you're going to pick up the phone to make a work call today. Which one is honestly easier to do? To pick up the phone and call someone who's already on your team to motivate them? Or is it easier to pick up the phone, talk to someone who doesn't know anything about what's going on and try to set up an appointment with them? Well, I assure you, again, I've been doing this a lot longer. It's much easier. It's a 10 times or more easier to pick up the phone and call someone who's already on your team to motivate them. That's like you're preaching to the choir. You've got people that are on the same sheet of music you are, so it's much, 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 much easier. Picking up the phone when someone is going to go, well, is this one of those deals, and they've got, they may be flat out negative. Remember, some will, from last week. Some will, some won't. So what? Remember, less than 5% of all the people on this planet become an active network marketer. So if you're trying to recruit somebody, the odds are you're just flat not going to get them. So to pick up the phone and go through call after call after call, knowing that a lot of them are not going to be successful, I'm just telling you, a lot of you will default to just calling people that are already on the team. And that's the way it is. So you are really limiting your growth by going through by going into phase two really quickly. Yeah, it makes it almost impossible for you to have a successful business. So what we need to do is we need to force ourselves, if indeed you need to force yourself. If you are one of these incredibly blessed people that truly enjoys everything we do, the actual day-to-day work, I mean, meeting someone at a Costa Coffee, sitting down, going through the presentation with them, either getting them hooked up as a customer, making sure they get everything the right way, or recruiting them and getting them started and planning a launch for their business, whatever the day-to-day activity is. If you enjoy doing the day-to-day activity, then you're going to be in really good shape. Now, let's just say that it's not your favorite thing to do in the whole world, then it's your discipline. And again, I'm a woof, wow, dude. Like motivation is great, but motivation will not get you to the finish line because I don't care if you understand our brain and the way it works. You cannot have a serotonin rush all day, every day. When you get motivated, there are chemicals that are released in your brain that bring you to an elevated state. No one in the history of mankind lives in an elevated state. Let's just say we're typically in a typical state. So how do you get something done? And again, this is the truth. Some of you guys, when you're motivated, which is on occasion, it's no one on earth, not Kobe Bryant, think about not Elon Musk, think about the most dynamic person you know. They are not motivated all day, every day. That's just not the human condition. So if while you're, why do most people make a New Year's resolution on January 30, I'm sorry, December 31st, they're going to get in great shape next year. And then next year, they don't get in great shape. As a matter of fact, by the end of January, most of them have already given up on the whole concept because they only go to the gym when they feel like it. They only eat the right way when they feel like it. Most of the time, they don't feel like it. And this all boils down to having no discipline. So, my favorite football coach of all time is a guy named Nick Saban, retired from the University of Alabama, where he won more championships than any other coach in the history of the sport. Nick Saban says discipline is doing what you're supposed to do the way you're supposed to do it, when you're supposed to do it. Here's the big one, whether you feel like it or not. So, again, let's repeat. You better make sure you understand this. Doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. That's a big, big. Now, that's so simple, right? What I learned about discipline is what's easy to do is easy not to do. So it's really easy to pick up the phone and make 10 phone calls. I mean, it's not complicated or difficult to pick up the phone and make 10 phone calls. It's also easy to not pick up the phone and make 10 phone calls. It's easy to go to the gym and get on a treadmill and do 20 minutes worth of cardio. You don't need to be an Olympic athlete. You don't need to have any real physical traits. It's just a discipline thing to go to a gym and do 15, 20 minutes worth of cardio. It's not that hard. It's also really easy to convince yourself that you have something else to do that's more important and not doing it. So discipline is the deal. You know what I mean? One of my favorite things I learned about discipline is before there was Tiger Woods, there were other great golfers, obviously Jack Nicklaus. Before Jack Nicklaus, there was a guy named Ben Hogan. If you know golf, you know the name Ben Hogan. And Ben Hogan won a number of championships. And he said, look, every day you don't do what you know you're supposed to do. All you're doing is you are pushing yourself one day further away from your dreams. So when you look at it that way, again, who are you really cheating? Or how are you getting away with something if you're pushing yourself one day further away from your dreams? Most of you, when you get started, it's like we sit down and go, what's your why? What's your dream? What do you really want to do? And we get all fired up again. We were motivated. We have this emotional burst of like, yes, I want to do this. I want to have my dream house. I want to move here. I want to retire my spouse, whatever fires you up. And that's great. So what discipline is doing what you're supposed to do long after the state of mind disappears that you decided you were going to do it. And it's really hard, and most people don't do it. It's not really hard. What's easy to do is easy not to do. It's not really hard, but it requires focus. And if you're going to work only with your unconscious mind, and if you're only going to do what you feel like doing, either you control your feelings or your feelings control you. You control your emotions or your emotions control you. So, very, very simple lesson for this one so far. Phase one. That's it. Phase one. You sell and recruit all day long, and you do it whether you feel like it or not. Now, let me further define phase one because I want to make sure. And this is now I'm going to go into a more detailed teaching part of this. And guys, this is like some of the most important fundamental stuff I could ever teach you. Okay, so when I sponsor, let's say I sponsor Ray into the business. I'm in phase one, I'm selling and recruiting all day long. Let's say I sell Ray, he becomes a customer, but he also sees an opportunity. So now he starts building the business. Now, what's the first thing I'm going to do when I sponsor Ray? Well, most people, when they sponsor someone, I really want you to get this analogy. When they're a brand new rep in your business, it's almost like you gave birth. I don't know if you ever given birth, but as a parent, I've done this twice. Now I have two other children with my wife. But when you give birth, it's kind of like you can envision, someday they're going to say their first words, then they're going to take their first steps. And then you're going to be able to do all these fun things, maybe take them to Disney World. They're going to start school. Someday they're going to, play sports. They're going to go to high school. They're going to, maybe someday get married. And you envision all these things that'll happen down the road in the future of your child, and you've got this lifetime to spend with them. My mentor said, nope, let's look at it differently. Let's look at, instead of like you just gave birth and you have a lifetime with them, let's look at it like you just are visiting someone in the hospital. They're in the intensive care unit of the hospital, meaning they're almost dead, and they're going to die within 30 days unless you, as the doctor, do something to save their life. So I'm there to save their life. Well, in network marketing, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but something around 70% of all the people who get involved in any company do nothing. They earn nothing. That's just the way it is. Now, why? I'm not going to get into it. But the truth is, a lot of them treat it like a hobby. They don't take it as a serious business, so they don't make a lot of money. But the bottom line is, we have to understand what's the number one reason why people quit. Because they're not making money, because they're not getting any customers, because they're not recruiting anyone. They're not having any production, and they're part-time. They're already doing something else. They're already busy. So when you sponsor someone, you sit there like, okay, I got one. Like you just caught a marlin or something. It's like, the truth is, they've done nothing yet. Again, remember, we get paid for sales, not for recruiting someone. So recruiting someone, getting them in the door means nothing. Okay. It's getting them making money. So now I'm going to have an urgency, and this is really important. What's the difference between a typical network marketer and a successful one? A big one of the differences is urgency. So I'm going to work with them because, remember, I told you I'm in a hospital. I got 30 days with them. And after 30 days, if they're not making money, they're probably never going to make money. So I'm going to really aggressively. So I go back to my example. I just sponsored Ray. Now you know how I'm looking at him. I'm not looking at him like he's going to be around forever. I'm looking at it like Ray is going to quit unless I give Ray a reason not to quit. That's probably the best way to say it. So I want to help Ray launch his business. Now, I don't care. Some of you guys like doing stuff online, offline. I don't really care where a lead comes from. Everyone wants to make a big deal out of, the new way of doing it. That's fine. Listen, I am all over social media. I get it. I don't care where you get a lead from. A lead is a lead is a lead is a lead. For me, one of the and here's what you gotta understand. It's not an either or. It's not like you should only be online, you should only be offline. Older folks like me, I'm older. I'm gonna lie. A lot of people shy away from social media. They shy away from the way that a lot of people like to do it, through private messaging and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. And they like to do one-on-one contact. Here's people I know. Let me talk to them, tell them I have something exciting. Younger people like to do social media in general. That's just the way the world is now. And like, think about it. For me, I met my wife. I didn't meet her on a dating app. Now it's extraordinarily common for young people to meet the people they're dating on a dating app. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's different. So that's okay. And for people like me who've never done it before, that seems crazy. For people that don't know anything other than doing it that way, doing it not that way seems crazy. So again, we got to get rid of the online offline battle. I don't care how you're getting prospects. The key is you're getting prospects. So if I'm working with Ray and he's getting all of his people for us to do presentations with online, I don't give a shit. If he's doing it all through person to person or phone calls, I don't give a shit. Alls I know is when I sit down and talk with Ray, and we'll get into this in detail. This is going to be a whole different, hour-long session down the road. But I'm going to set expectations with Ray immediately. And one of those expectations is going to be, you need to put me in front of a bunch of people that I don't know. Okay, because that's how we're going to get you out of the intensive care unit. How am I going to get him making money? We've got to do presentations, and some will, some won't. So what? We're going to make sales, we're going to recruit people, but I can't like go to an empty chair and say humu humu nuku nupu apu and all of a sudden make a sale. It doesn't. You got to put someone in the chair. So now I'm going back to phase one. I know some of you guys thought I forgot phase one. Oh, no, 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 no. We're still very heavily into phase one talk. So as I am working with Ray, my brand new person who's just getting started, who's in the intensive care unit, and I'm trying to get him out of it during his first 30 days, that's his phase one, obviously, but it's also my phase one. Okay, so phase one is either me doing my own prospect, selling and recruiting all day long, or once I get a brand new prospect, I'm working their contacts, and this is only during the first 30 days would it consider to be my phase one. Meaning, I've got someone who's been on my team for 3 years. They've been around, and if I'm helping them with their presentations, that's not phase one at all. That's somewhere in the phase 2, 3, 4, but it's not phase one. I'm talking that person is already in. They're already out of the intensive care unit. I am not going to be spending the majority of my time working with them. I'm going to be there to guide them, and I'll get into this before we finish today. I don't want to confuse anyone. But phase one is me doing my own personal, me bringing Ray in, or when Ray decides to engage, if I bring in 10 people and the 5 of them are actually doing something, and Ray is one of those 5, and when I'm trying to get Ray out of intensive care, and when I'm trying to get Ray to get customers and reps, me working with Ray. So now this is probably the most important thing. Not probably, this is the most important thing I'm going to teach you on this one. And you really need to hear this like more than I could possibly explain. Okay, this is not how most of you do the business. Again, not you, most network marketers all over the world. So they bring Ray in, and now they start training Ray on what to do. Again, they expect like Ray is their newborn child. They're going to be with Ray for the next 30, 40, 50 years and watch Ray grow and develop. So they start working with Ray, and they start guiding and training and teaching Ray. And that is the main reason why Ray normally ends up doing nothing. Okay, so now imagine Ray recruits Micah. Okay, so Ray recruits Micah. So the way most network marketers would do this is me, someone who knows what I'm doing, would tell Ray what to tell Micah on how to invite, how to present, how to close, how to train. Okay, so imagine, again, great analogy, you're a parent, you have a 1-year-old, and then you and your wife have another child, and your wife and you are emotionally worn out from the pregnancy, the birth, everything. And you go to your 1-year-old little Ray and go, Ray, mom and I are, whew, you just don't understand how trying it is to go through this whole process. We're going to take a 10-day vacation. So while we're gone, we're going to leave you a little baby Micah, and we need you to feed him. We need you this. Here's our cell phone number. Here's this. We're going to go. Bye. Now, obviously, that would be child abuse. You could never, no one would be such a moron is to leave their infant with their 1-year-old child. But that's basically what everyone in network marketing does. And on top of it, remember, almost everyone on your team is part-time. So they're not even full time. They're not even dedicated and serious to what they're doing. They have a full time job. They do this on the side. They have people constantly in their ear saying it doesn't work. They doubt themselves. They don't really have any idea what the hell they're doing. Now, that person is going to teach the new person. Are you honestly on drugs? When you look at it from the perspective I'm explaining to you, it's the most idiotic thing in the world. But that's what people do. They work with their new people. I don't do that. I work through my new person. Okay. Remember what I shared with you. My thing is they're in the intensive care unit. That means after 30 days, they're gone. Now, if they're gone after 30 days, that would suck. But here's the thing, if I had some urgency and I got some customers and some reps from them while they were in the intensive care unit, then if they pass away, I still have something for my efforts because I didn't work with them. I didn't tell them what to do and then see if maybe they can execute it. I work through them. That's why their phase one is my phase one. So I am working with Micah. And here's the other thing you got to understand. If I sponsor Micah, I'm sorry, if I sponsor Ray, if I bring in Ray, 99.9% of the times, it's just the person you sponsor is not going to be the person that you're really ultimately looking for. It's not the leader you're looking for. So if I get Ray, and Ray's not a leader kind of guy, and then he brings in Micah, and Micah is a leader kind of guy, but I'm telling Ray what to tell to Micah, I'm not working with Micah directly, then the odds are that Micah's going to walk away because either he's going to get the wrong instruction or he's going to see a really bad example through Ray in this example, or he's not going to look up to Ray and think Ray doesn't have any idea what the hell he's doing. He's going to walk away. On the other hand, if I work through Ray and I connect directly with Micah and he sees my work ethic and I do know what I'm doing, and not only am I helping him, here's the point. In a classic example, let's even go a step further. Let's say I work through Ray gets Micah, and Micah gets Ed Terranova. So now I'm working with Ed. Ed's the one. Like Ed just has this look in his eyes. He has a gigantic warm market. He can't wait to go and talk to him. He's fired up. He has a great burning why. So I'm not working with Ray, who's working with Micah to work with Ed. I am working through Ray, through Micah to work with Ed. So I'm working with Ed, but that's my phase one. I sell and recruit all day long. I'm doing it with Ed. And I'm going to work with Ed and help build him a bunch of customers. And here's the crazy thing about the whole intensive care unit, the hospital thing. If I find Ed and I drive sales with Ed, I've not only saved Ed's life, I've already saved Micah's and Ray's. By working through them, I was able to get someone, drive success, and now Ed's success is not only enough to save him, it's enough to save the other two people as well. And that's called tap rooting. That's called driving depth. That's the lifeblood of what we do in our business. But so many people just don't understand. There's one simple basic concept: working through people instead of working with people. If that's the only thing you ever learned from me and you really learned it, that is enough to help you become a professional network marketer. That one thing right there. Now, let me go back to phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm working and I am, again, I get more money. I get a new rank in a company. I get a new title. I keep doing the same. I do not get a new job description. What I'm telling you right now is what I do. Often people come up to me, they hit a rank in a company where maybe they're making 5,000 a month. They go, okay, now what do I need to do? Like as if they should be doing something different, as if they should have a different job description. I'm going, just go back and do what you did all over again. Just do it again. Just help a new person do what you just did. Then what do I do? Then help another new person do what you just did. Then what do I do? Then help another new person do. Then what do I? This, when it's done properly, is a boring business. You get to a point where you're making $5,000 a month and get someone underneath you and show them how to do it. And then someone else show them how to do it. And then someone else show them how to do it. The key is you're always working with new people. Always, 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 always. Now, as your team develops, okay, and let's say you're good at this, okay, and I'm working with people and I'm developing 5,000 a month earners. Now let's go back to the example of raising children. So, as it would be preposterous for me to go to my 2-year old and tell them what to do with the 1-year old and the infant, we agree that would be ridiculous. But when the 2-year old becomes a 7, 8, 9-year old, I'm not like, well, you're not a 2-year old anymore, so I'm not going to have anything to do with you. What happens is I'm definitely spending time with them, but now of 100% of my time that I have, I am spending 80%, 80% of my time in phase one, where I'm selling and recruiting all day long and working with brand new groups, selling and recruiting all day long. So that means if my wife and I just had an infant, 80% of our time is with our infant. Now, we also have a 5-year-old, we have a 9-year-old, and we have an 11-year-old. We do have 20% of our 100% of our time left. 20% of our time is spent with those kids. They just need way less time, but they definitely need some time. Now, here's the other thing about this, and this is everything we're doing today is so freaking important. So there's something in any business, anyone I do one-on-one coaching with, we identify what are your peak income generating activities and what are your peak income generating hours. Okay, so for network marketing, the peak income generating activities are inviting and presenting. You know, you spending time to get someone to come take a look and then doing the actual presentation. Those are the, and then maybe a third peak income generating activity is where you're launching that person's new business. So inviting, presenting, and then getting the new person started. Those are the three things that are the main things that make you the most money. Now, what are the peak income generating hours? Usually, the peak ones are between 5 p.m. at night and 9 p.m. So most people work during the day. They get off work. Now they're available. Not only are they available for you to be spending time with them because they were working during the day because they're part-time like every network marketer, but now also that's when their people on their list, their prospects, the people we can sell and recruit to get them out in the intensive care unit, that's when they're available as well. So that's what we're basically doing. So what we want to do, phase one, I am doing my phase one. I'm doing the peak income generating activities during the peak income generating hours. Now, go back to my, this is me inviting and presenting and closing and training and all that stuff with my new people, or me working with my new guy, Ray, in the example I've been using the whole time. And if Ray finds Micah, me, Ray, and Micah, me, Ray, Mike, and Ed, that's me working with that new team, inviting, presenting, and getting new people started. That's I'm doing phase one activities, the most important activities, and always during the peak hours. Now, it's the non-peak hours. This is the other thing I really want to get across to you. It's the non-peak hours that I'm spending with my existing team. So if I am working with Mike and he's my brand new guy, then I'm going to be during 5 and 9, boom, that there is no one from my existing team that I'm quote unquote managing with the 20% of my time. I am just not working with them during that time frame. They know enough to be able to do things on their own there. So I'm working them in all the other hours of the day, the non-peak income generating hours. So it could be early morning, it could be lunchtime, it could be the afternoon, it could be after the 9 p.m. when we're done doing presentations in the evening. That's when I'm going to spend my time with them. And there's plenty of time there to be able to quote unquote manage your team. But if you get yourself into a mindset of, I am not a manager, managers do not make a lot of money in network marketing. Managers, okay, here's another one. Write this down on a card. This is one of the most valuable things I ever learned in my whole entire life. Very, very simple concept. The index card I looked at every day said, if my entire team did exactly what I did today, how much money did I earn? If my entire team does exactly what I did today, how much money will I earn? So if I sold nothing, how much money am I going to earn? If I have 400,000 team members, which would be an awful lot, and all of them sell nothing, how much money did I earn? Close your eyes. That's how much money you earn. So I've got to sell. That drove me to want to sell and recruit every single day, because if I sell and recruit every day and my entire team does exactly what I did, then I'm going to make money. And you don't need to have 400,000 people. If you have 30 people on your team and you made a sale and every person on your team makes a sale, you made some money. Very simple, very basic stuff. But when you are in management mode, and that's what most people die a slow death with their network marketing business, because they're in phase 2, 3, or 4, they don't even realize they're doing it, and they're managing their team. They're spending peak income generating hours doing something other than inviting, presenting, and launching new people. They're not working through people, they're working with people. And because of that, their business just dies. The momentum just dies because nothing is going on. So, again, this is a really heavy duty session we did today. Stay in phase 1. Phase 1 is everything. My first a nice car I was able to buy. Well, not nice car, but the first really nice car. My first high level Mercedes I bought. I got a personalized license plate that said phase 1, because that's how I got the car. I got the car from being in phase 1. And every time I went to that car and I got in that car and I drove that car, and man, did I love that car. I've had much nicer cars since then, but I think I love that car more than anything because that was my first really badass car. And I just loved every time I looked at that, I saw phase 1, phase 1, phase 1, phase 1, because that's how I got the car. The longer you can stay in phase 1, the more money you're going to make in network marketing. It's just really that simple. And very key thing, you're not working with people, you're working through them. Now, at some point, some of these people are going to give you a reason to work with them. And that's great. But until, in other words, the example I said, I got Ray, who got Mike, who got Ed, and Ed is the star. Well, as Ed is stepping into leadership, as Ed is really becoming the guy, he's the ace, he's the one I'm looking for. Well, then I'm not working through Ed. I don't need to work through Ed because I trust Ed. So I work with Ed. That's where I'm going, hey, Ed, this is what you should do with your team. Hey, Ed, this is what you should do with your guy. But they have to earn the privilege of me working with them. And until they prove to me through their actions that they're good enough to work with, then I'm going to work through them 100% of the time. So that's what I have for today, Mr. Ray. Again, I love doing these weekly sessions, and I'm just excited about the meetings we're going to have here over the next couple of days, man. When we get everyone just understanding what I talked about today, and then we put everything the company has in their hands and we spread the word the way we should, it's going to be a glorious thing to behold what happens over the next 90 to 180 days.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Boy, tonight I was everywhere. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. You were all over.
I was all over the place, man. No, thank you so much, Mark. Like I said, nothing but the best of the best as far as training. Some of the things we're cooking, guys, gals, stay plugged in, stay close to the fire, stay on our Saturday call, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Stay on our social media groups, our Telegram, our WhatsApp groups. Get plugged into your upline, and we'll see you at the top. God bless. Have a great, great week.